All right. What's up, everybody? We are here on the New Balance patch. That's right. It's not released yet, but ESL has already said, hey, for the weekly cups, let's swap over to that so there's more quick, rapid testing of the New Balance changes, and let's see how it goes. This is the semifinals of the North American Weekly. I'm casting it live, so we can only cross our fingers that it'll be good, but when these two are playing, it's usually guaranteed that it's going to be some very high-level StarCraft, even though they are both very capable of brutally murdering each other. We've got Cure in the top right, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, and his teammate, also for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Dark, in the left side. Zerg versus Terran. Of course, these two recently had a bit of an infamous run-in in the Super Tournament of GSL, where I believe Dark might have like 3-0'd him or something like that. Dark kind of dominated him, but he broke Cure's spirit on Waterfall, where they played like an hour-long game. Every resource was mined out, and Dark kind of dominated the last fight that happened. And as a result, Cure could not win the game. However, Cure forgot to pay attention to the fact that Dark had no anti-air units, except Queens. So he could have just floated a building to the corner, and it would have been impossible for Dark to eliminate him. And as such, it's a bit of a bad choice for Dark. Now, people did point out that there was a few minerals left on the map. There was 2 mineral patches on the minimap, but I don't know if the Observer ever showed how much was on them. And if it was just 5 or 20 minerals on each, that wouldn't have helped to corrupt a build in that scenario. Likewise, I know I'm kind of going deep down the rabbit warren of a game that this one isn't. But also, I'm not sure if the Spire was still alive, because Dark had lost his whole main base. So I don't know if he'd rebuilt a Spire or not in that game. So who knows, maybe it wasn't a forced draw, but I know Maru's had the same thing versus Scarlet on King's Cove. There was a game back in 2019, I believe it was. And for now, Q is denying the third base, but Dark sneaks another drone out the other side, goes for that one. Q just keeping a drone occupied here that's not mining is in of itself a little bit of damage, right? It's obviously hoping to catch the drone as it pops out. The drone does get to go back to mining. It's not hugely impactful, but you've stopped a drone from mining for a little bit, and that is about as good value as you can get. Q is building his third on location. Oh my god, and the Overlord's barely missing it with the path Dark's taking. This is such a greedy play. Wow, so Q is playing a 3cc opening, but he's like, you know what? I'm just going to build it there. And he says, I think Dark's just going to play really greedy and economic, and how can I keep pace with a very greedy Zerg that I think isn't going to be aggressive against me? That apparently is his answer. Oh, those Lings almost getting the reach around on that Reaper, but that Reaper was zipped up tight and didn't let those Zerglings get the full palm grip wrapped around his junk, so he's gonna have to accept that one. Oh, second barracks as well, so the factory, he's gonna go Starport Reactor and be building 3 Marines and Stim at the same time. I like the way Q is playing this. I think this is such a good, and if he can just go straight into a Biomine Parade push, Dark has a real weak point in the game when he's just getting all of his hatcheries up. If you put enough pressure on him, he can't really afford to get his macro hatcheries up, and then he pulls all of his queens to the front to defend, which means he's not injecting. It's Dark's big weakness is not direct damage in ZvT, it's indirect damage. It's forcing him to pull his queens by threatening, and him just missing a ton of injects. That's always been his weakness, but if you give him even a moment's rest, well, what does he do? He doesn't care. He just goes and drops 2 macro hatcheries in his main. Doesn't matter if he misses a lot of injects. All right, we've got 3 Marines there. Just keeping that out of the main. Interestingly, a quick third gas did come down. I didn't realize you needed a quick third gas with this build. This isn't like 2-on-1 into mech or something, is it? What's that third gas about? Early tanks? I'm not too familiar with the build order myself, so not 100% sure, but we'll see. Dark's going for Spore Crawlers, or actually just Spore Crawler. So he's not really sure what's going on. He's seen the 3rd command center, and he's got his own 4th up very early. Built that at 4 minutes 40. So he's still in a pretty good spot himself. I'm surprised. Oh yeah, so he's been doing this build lately. Dark likes to go Evos and Baneling Nest both at the same time. Whereas a lot of players are like either rushing 1-1 or rushing Baneling speed, and the other thing is really delayed. But Dark just takes his gases a little bit earlier recently and gets all of them at once. And it's a very flexible style. Doesn't have any clear abusable weak point. It's just a Dark special. I think you could argue it doesn't have the same edge as the other ones with the timing, but it's not bad. Oh, I'm surprised he doesn't drop on top of that. Yeah, the Watchtower sees these Marines unloading, so the Queens pull back. Where are the rest of his Lings? Oh god, Dark's being very greedy right now. Dude, he's building 22 Lings. They're not ready. He's going to have Queens that can buy a little bit of time. He's dropped so many tumors. He's only got 1 transfuse. He's about to have a second transfuse and a third one tick over right about now. He's kind of lucky that Kua played carefully. I feel like Kua could have got more damage. On the other hand, Kua's like, hey dude, I'm getting double eBay. I'm getting 5 barracks up. Like, come on, man. I don't need to do anything too aggressive. I just chip away at you, stop you from building too many drones right now by scaring you would be good. 1-1 upgrades. I was about to say he needs to get a move on with them, but he does start them up. About 20 seconds behind Dark's. Dark's going to be looking for an engagement here, but the Medivacs can easily scoop these Marines and Hellions up. Getting rid of a lot of the creep tumors is always nice, but unfortunately Kua misses that creep tumor on the right. And he saves most of these units. Could save one of the Hellions and the Reaper if he wants to. Hellions do tend to get left behind. He's going to unload their combat shields finishes. 1-1 Marines and tanks are building. Dark's up on 70 workers. I like that he's showing restraint and not droning any more than that, as well as taking a 5th on the right side. He's also respreading creep. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any creep up the middle right now, but luckily keeping this tumor is kind of nice. You can see he's spreading backwards and filling the gaps in the holes. But Marine tanks starting to parade across this map. Kua sees a few of these banelings here, and of course, with no burrow, nowhere to hide. Hive is on the way. So he's going to go Hive. He's got the double macro hatch up. Dark is trying to squeeze a few more workers out as well as start to do giant backstabs. And Kua has nothing out there to spot it. And that's a huge problem. He might just die. He might just die to this backstab. Oh, Kua, you got to be careful, mate. He's got a tank on the high ground. That's his saving grace. There's a lot of lings there, though, that could morph into Bane. Some are already morphing. But look at that. Tanks get themselves right in the corner. And that is the problem with Data C. As a Zerg player, you're never going to defend this, so you just take the hatchery here, take the hatchery in the top left, and get a ton of units ready to backstab him. But Kua seems to be wary of this. He's really respecting it. Bring that third medevac forward. He's got to boost in and pick up, pick up, pick up. Nice save there. Oh my god, the Queen's even thinking about fighting the tanks across the gap. You can see, though, that's a very expensive trade. Even though it looks scary for the Terran, you lose a medevac, you almost lose a lot of Marines. You can keep doing that, just 8 or 16 Marines at a time, and it's going to be really hard for them to be efficient. Now, Kua spots this, which is, of course, very good. He needs to turn those medevacs around. Kua very slow to react. His command center dies and every SCV on this third. Kua, what are you doing, mate? You spotted that. How did he not notice that? Oh, no. Try not to be too harsh on pro players, but that was very, very silly. I mean, he saw it with the SCV and had so much warning. And, I mean, he's still got a good position on the front, so he could still potentially win this game. The double drop going in the main base, but that was such a crazy amount of damage, and now he's even losing depots behind it. Third base of Dark is going to be going down, but he's going to be getting a new 4th in the top, so still going to be on 3 full bases with a 4th about to pop back up into mining. And, I mean, if Kua had his command center cancelled, he could just rebuild it. He could have this third fully saturated. He'd be in a much better spot. As it is, though, kills the infestation pit. But not before. Look, 2-2 adrenal glands are started. About a minute ahead on the upgrades is Kua. He's creating inroads on the bottom, and this base is always a little exposed. It's not the happiest place to engage. I just feel like, as Kua, take your time. Yeah, build a 4th command center, tech on up, rebuild your SCV count. No need to rush this. And these tanks are just always going to be kind of hanging out in an annoying position on the south side of the map, making it impossible to retake that base. Ooh-wee. Okay, got to keep those medevacs there. This is 1 or 2 Marines, not too bad. Marines retake the watchtower. He can just pick off a few lings and pull back. And this is the advantage of setting up for the long game, is you can just take fights like this and then save the Marines, unload, heal them up, come in and do it again. And you're picking where and when these fights happen. I'd also love to see him just keep killing this base on the bottom. That he doesn't know it's been rebuilt, but something he should definitely be denying. Now, more tanks are moving out the left side. Oh no, Kua, what are we doing? Just sending 2 tanks out on their own. Kua with some big mistakes this game. He's giving Dark some pickups that Dark should not be allowed to have. He gets a tank kill there. The other one does barely survive. These tanks should be sieged on over there. These Marines still haven't unloaded. He could easily deny this base, putting Dark down in a not great economic spot. But Dark, he's going Ultras and the Nidus Network. And remember, guys, this is the balanced test map. So we haven't seen too many Hydras or anything like that yet. We haven't seen too many of the units that have changed. But keep in mind, Snipe is different and Ultras are way stronger because they are smaller and they don't miss their shots as much. The Marines and the tanks coming forward. Bad fight for Dark. Very good defense of that run by. Kua loses some Marines here, but he cancels the hatchery. And he's bringing more Marines down. Looks like the Viper, the Queens, and the Lings are going to try and defend this, maybe using some Abduct. There's also a slight cooldown on the abduct there. It's very slight, but you can see there was just a little bit of delay on casting the second abduct. Kua unable to save those Marines in time just due to a little bit of miss micro. Trying to do a Biomine push on the top, and that Widow Mine there going to get set off by a single Zergling. Really nice play by Dark, who's looking very powerful. Now, Kua's economy is good in terms of work account, but he doesn't have a lot of command centers or bases. I think he needs to get a move on with those command centers. It is 3-3 upgrades on the way here for him. They haven't started yet for Dark. If he can just keep on attacking these angles, that would be great. If I were him, I wouldn't even... as a fan of Kua, I wouldn't mind him picking up 2 siege tanks and another 16 Marines and just hitting that same angle again while doing a drop on the top. Of course, he's more focused on surviving. Uh-oh, Kua! Nidus in your main! Let's go to Kua's camera, guys. Kua's looking at his main, He's stimmed some units there. He's changed his rally points back to it. Is he going to stop it, though? Oh, I think if he clicks it, he'll be fine. There's no units inside the Nidus. It's more of a distraction than anything else. And that means it's time to get a Viking or a Ghost out to start patrolling the edge and clearing up Overlords and Overseers. Very important. You can also build turrets in enough of a tight pattern along the edge that they can't place Nidus Worms on the edge and they have to fly in deeper in order to cast it. But that's a very expensive option. Right now, Kua is floating 1,500 minerals. He should be building 3 or 4 command centers right now. He's got to set up for the late game. I don't know if he's too willing to play that late game up against Dark. Look, Dark has the mini Ultralisks. You can see the Ultras are very small, which means they don't block each other as much. They don't get stuck behind each other. And the range slop is the other thing. When I was talking about the miss, so if a unit moves far enough away, the Ultras will miss, but they've increased the range of that now, so you have to move further away, which means it's much harder for those shots to miss. Widow Mine's clearing up the Lings. The Ultra does get away unharmed. Kua, he's got 4 command centers on the way and a Ghost Academy. There we go. Concussive shells coming in as well. Now he's preparing for that longer game. Very nice to see. Oh, focuses down an Overseer, but the Banelings do hit those Marines. Oh, man, big parasitic bomb all over. Oh, man. Manages to save some of those units. The parasitic bomb kills a few medevacs, though. Whole bunch of medevacs go down. Luckily, he does save some of the bio in there, and he's going to try and keep chipping away at his opponent as he looks to expand to this base. Dark, comfortable in all sorts of chaotic situations. Kua is definitely a player who prefers a little bit of a clean game. And that's why this game here, where he had such momentum early, got away with a very greedy start. But now Dark finds himself with a slightly larger bank, at least on the minerals, and starting to deal with everything very well with just forward creep and Ling Bane and really creating some frustrating situations. Defuses a few of the Widow Mines. This command center can go down easily. There's no way Kua can defend that. He hasn't really moved. If he sieges a tank there, maybe, or starts getting his tanks over here, he might be able to do it. But for now, just lots of orbitals morphing. Has to lift the command center. And no Spire in sight. I really want to see how the Broodlord versus Ghost interaction works. So for those who don't know, as Ghosts hit the field, essentially now, it used to be that Snipe, once you cast it, as long as you had vision, it would always land. Even if a Zergling ran 2 screens away, the Snipe would still hit it. Now, if you get 13.5 range away from the Ghost, Snipe will break. So that means Ultras, if they run in, all start getting Snipe, they can quickly run away, and they can actually break the Snipe. So now there's 2 ways to break the Snipe. Either you damage the Ghost, or you run out of that range. Also, Broodlords are faster. Now, Broodlords shouldn't be able to break the Snipe. They're still too slow for that. But most of the other units can. Broodlords are a lot faster, which is great for them, but their Broodlings last only about half as long. So you're not able to create such an impenetrable wall of Broodlings. Mass Link Bane Ultra Viper. Oh my god, 41 Banelings. Good lift on the command center. It's all about just surviving these sort of attacks as Kua. Pre-spread. He's got a pre-spread. He's got some tanks there. These command centers are in trouble. He's going to have to lift that one. Good lift by Kua. Oh man, Parasitic Bomb in the middle, and the Banelings are just going to boom his planetary. Big Parasitic Bomb damage. Oh, the Parasitic Bomb's just killed like 5 medevacs. And he lost a command center planetary and a command center that was building and 21 SCVs. That was a fantastic fight for Dark. Is Dark behind in the units lost? Yeah. But only 5,000 resources. 20,800 to 15,900. Dark is going to try and secure more bases, and these bases are very hard to keep up as a Zerg on this map. Usually when you see Terran win this map, it's because they're constantly denying those bases with drops and the like. And since there's nothing but Vipers for Anti, he could do that. The problem that Q is running into is there's 4 Vipers this game. A lot of people only play 2 Vipers, but with 4, the Parasitic Bombs are just adding to the mechanical load of Q. He has to split his medevacs while spreading his bio, while sniping, while running SCVs, while lifting command centers that are about to get blown up. That's a lot of things to do. Now, Really hoping Kua does repair this SCV on the north side. Every hit point is sacred on a command center. Very expensive for Zerg to take those out. Here we go. Giant wave coming in. Blinding Cloud landing on some tanks. The bio a little bit too far forward. There's no more tanks covering it. The planetary in the top left is going to get taken out by Zerglings alone. And that is a dominating onslaught of Lingbane Ultra here for Dark. Smashes this command center as well. And Kua just getting run over. It's a big problem for him because he had a good start this game, but it looked like he was a little bit slow to recognize that giant Lingbane counterattack. He felt a bit too much urgency to put the hurt on Dark, and as a result left himself wide open to that run by, which it felt like was a huge turning point in this game. A few people watching live curious. No one actually cast my game versus Dark earlier today, guys. I spawned as Protoss twice. I was playing random, and he obliterated me. Wasn't too upset with how I played by any means, but Dark is Dark, and he smacks bitches, and I indeed was his bitch on this day. He's just so aggressive and so confident, doing styles which other people would say, oh, that's a suboptimal style, that's not good, because if they counter it with this. But Dark will be like, yeah, but I'm not going to forecast what I'm doing. I'm not going to foreshadow it. It's going to surprise you. You're not going to react perfectly, and I will kill you. And he does it in that Dark style very well. I'd like to see this Marine Marauder come back to the front. I think he needs every bit of supply he can on the front. I'd also like to see some more engineering bays walling off these choke points. Widow Mines. Can he get a few good Widow Mines? It's a couple decent ones on the Lings, but there's so many Banes coming in behind. Parasitic Bombs as well. And oh my god, even though the bio on the right survives, look at this. The Marines behind that mineral line. Actually, there's a Marauder in the choke point doing very well. Kua with some slick micro, man. It looks like Banelings finally cracked through behind the minerals on the top side. That Ultra is going to get popped by the Snipety Snipe. The bio coming forward, and Dark here is just overwhelming. Even with these final Ultras, just so hard to deal with, man. Oh my god, they just don't die. Finally, they get popped. Neil's dropping on that top base. We've got Lings, we've got Banes, we've got Ultras. Dark says, hey, it's working. There's no need to fix it. I'd love to see him smash this bottom base. I feel like if you open up a choke point, you create movement. Ultraling Bane is such a fluid composition. It doesn't need a lot of setup. And Kua knows that he's down and out in this game. He has to type out the GG, tap out of the game. And Dark takes map 1. Okay, into game 2. Dark spawning over here in the right side of Stargazers, and we've got Kua over on the left. Now, Kua has opened up with the command center first. So he's playing very greedy builds today up against Dark. Command center first, no, sorry. It's not a command center first. That's a Reaper. I was like, where's the Reaper at? No. He's already got the Reaper here, doing some damage. Oh, if he could finish one of those Lings, that'd be great. Maybe, oh, he bounces himself. Oh, Kua. Kua is not having his best day, guys. I think his build order selection is kind of fantastic, but maybe not having faith in playing against these new Ultras, the new Hydras. I don't know. For those who don't know, Widow Mines do burrow a little bit quicker and more consistently. In this patch, there's a lot of small changes that go through that can actually have effects, right? That a lot of people don't really think about. Let me actually open up those patch notes on my second monitor. We can talk about that as he stops into Hellions. Obviously a quick third CC, so pretty straight up openings. No sign of putting back on gas early for Dark. In fact, he's really taking his time to put back on gas, you can see. So, yeah. Alright, bringing those patch notes up. So Zerg creep tumors do spread a little bit slower. For those who don't know, basically the cooldown is now 13 seconds rather than 11, which is not a huge change, but especially when there's no pressure on the Zerg, like in this scenario, it will make a decent difference. Obviously, a lot of Zergs aren't always spreading the moment they can, but in the scenarios where they want to, it will make a diff. Now, here we go, guys. A bunch of Overlords building. Is this going to be a Ravager Ling attack from Dark? He's building a lot of Overlords right now. Ooh. Now, for those who don't know, Ravagers take longer to morph. But going Roach Tech against a Marauder, Hellbat. Oh, this is such a good matchup of build orders. Such a good matchup of build orders. Now, for some reason, Kua's gone Armory before Medevac. So his build is absolute crap right now. And he's making Concussive way early. Cancel Concussive, make a Medevac. Kua doesn't realize that the Medevac hasn't started. I mean, this is so bad. Cure is playing very suboptimally right now, guys. He's making a ton of mistakes. He finally starts the medevac. The only thing that's good for him here is that he might realize, oh, wait, there's roaches, and then not show his hand with the Marauders. If he doesn't show his hand with the Marauders, it's going to be way better. He's got 3 Marauders out. He's trying to build a 4th. He is a little supply blocked, though. Viking does get a second Overlord kill, which is fantastic. Roaches are moving around the map. The thing is, this army for Cure can easily defend Dark's attack. It's just, the problem is if he commits to his attack and gets surrounded, he might get wiped. Oh man, this is going to get so weird so quickly because the Hellions are separated from the army. And Dark's going to surprise him. I feel like, you know, normally I'd favor the Terran in this scenario, but it feels like Dark... Oh, here we go. Roaches coming. And 4 Roaches are going to get caught. 3 Ravagers finish morphing there. Remember, they take a while longer to morph. Okay, definitely I think Kua should probably pull back. He's got to be careful of getting surrounded here. Careful of getting surrounded here. Oh my gosh. This is really weird. This is such an awkward scenario. Biles take out one of the Hellions. As long as he has enough Hellions to deal with the Lings... Then that's okay, but oh, I feel like the Hellbat morph is just a bit too late here. Another Bile lands on the face of the Hellbats. And oh, I can't believe he's managing to turn this into such a good position. Dark catches the army. He hides it so well. I said that Dark often, you know, does things that are suboptimal. And this is a pretty late Ravager Ling attack he was going for, but he hides it so well. That's what makes it effective. Oh man, that Liberator taking 2 Biles. He's going to need to repair that. Otherwise, it will be getting biled down again in the future. The Hellbat Marauder Marine comes forward. The Hellbat does help out a lot versus the Lings. The Liberator not sieged up right now. It looks like that's going to be a successful all-in attack. Dark taking Kua to Dicktown here. Kua was very late on his timing. If he moved out earlier, he would have seen what was happening. Then he should have been able to stop that. But he just totally screwed up his build. And Kua playing... way below his normal level today. No hate on Kua. If anything, for anyone who's angry at me saying that, I think it's just respect on Kua that he should be playing way better than he did today. Bad luck to him, but well played to Dark.